I did another video like this, and I was told that this was a fun and entertaining video, so I thought I'd do it again. I'm just going to be talking about whatever, stories from my life. I have some notes here, like last time. I call it a yap session. I'm just going to ramble and maybe rant. I don't know. Should I start off sad? I think I should. So this is about a story of my fish. I had a beta fish, and his name was Moon. Some of you already know the story, but I got Moon in I think 2015, and I was very young, and I was very young, and Moon was a blue and a red beta fish, so the colors were kind of mixed, but one side was kind of red and one side was blue. And when I was younger, I was like, this reminds me of a blue moon, and so that's how I came up with Moon for his name. And I had Moon for quite some time, like several years, which is crazy for a beta fish. Beta fish usually don't even last that long. But I did what I had to do, and he survived a very long time. Lived a very long time, not survived. So I had Moon, and Moon, lovely fish, I had a little tank for him, some rocks at the bottom. I have a picture. I might put a picture in here. And Moon, very cute fish, kind of swam around all day. I don't know how fish don't get bored. They're just like swimming. But I had Moon for a long time, and 2 days before this tragic event, my mom, she had asked if Moon had died. And, I was like, what? No, he didn't die. What are you talking about? And she was like, oh, okay. She was just saying that he was looking a bit peaked and sick. And I was like, he looks fine to me. And 2 days later, Moon. It's a fish. Moon, it was really sad at the time. I'm trying to not laugh because Moon died 2 days later. It was really tragic. I'm trying to get my acting skills up. Let me try something. It was really sad. I had walked in the room at night, and I saw, well, not at night, after I came home from school, and I saw Moon was dead. And Moon was just in the rocks at the bottom, just kind of lifeless. And I shook Moon, not like aggressive, like little, the Finding Nemo girl with the braces. I wasn't aggressive like her. I just kind of like barely shook his tank, trying to see if he would move, and Moon just frozen. He didn't move. And I knew right then and there. I knew right then and there that he had died. And I was young, and I had called my mom. She was still at work. Oh, I remember it. I was like, aren't fish supposed to float when they die? Why was he sunk at the bottom of the tank? I was just kind of confused. And I was mad at my brother, too, because I was like, he didn't notice Moon had died? I was just really mad at my brother. I don't know what, it was my fish. He wasn't really paying attention. But Moon had died, and I called my mom. She was still at work. And I was like, Mom, Moon passed away. And my mom was like, oh. And I said, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. And I started crying. This is like a miniature performance. Give me an Oscar already, you know what I mean? And I was like, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. And I started crying. And my mom was like, oh no. She said, when I get home, we're all gonna have we were gonna have a funeral for him because I wanted a funeral. And so as my mom was getting off work coming back home, I made Moon some stuff for his funeral. I glued some popsicle sticks together to form a cross, and on this horizontal part I put R.I.P. Moon, and this part I put the dates. Moon, my dad, he had took Moon out of the tank, and we put him in a little Dixie cup, and then we buried him in the front yard in front of a tree. This is gonna get real tragic, so trigger warning. I need one for me too. We had put Moon, dug him up. I mean, not dug. We dug Moon a hole and put Moon in the hole in the ground. And then I put the popsicle stick cross over top. And I said my goodbye. Because I didn't want to flush him. You know, people flush fish. I was like, no, we're not flushing Moon. And, I cried. Everyone was standing, my whole family were out there. Except my brother. I don't think he was out there. But we were all out there and we were all saying, Moon, you were a good fish. You brightened up my days. You helped me through. I don't know what I said. Just imagine an overdramatic. Well, it was a reason for me to be like that. My fish just died. I also had my dog Yuki still. He's still with us to this day. So I had 2 pets, but now I have Yuki because Moon is, dead. And so we buried Moon. The next day, as I was coming home from school, my mom picked me up, and we were going into the garage, and I just saw a bunch of cats gathered around the area I had buried Moon at. And I immediately jumped out of the car and ran at the cats, like, get out of here. My mom, she got a broom, and she was like, you better get out of here. And I went over there, they had dug up Moon. I'm telling you, it was a sea of cats. It was a good, 5 cats around it. We had a lot of cats in the neighborhood. But, me, I was like, I didn't think that they would do that. But, of course, cats like fish and maybe decaying things or whatever. The cats were gathered around where I buried Moon, and they were digging him up, essentially. I don't know what happened. My mom was over there, so I don't know if they ate Moon or... This is graphic, but I don't know if they ate Moon. I don't know where Moon is at, if it's, was in the cat's stomachs already. But Moon's grave was dug up. And, a few days later, my parents were like, Arya, do you want another fish? And I said, never again. It was very sad. Still, I haven't had another fish. I don't think I'll ever get another fish. I have my dog, and he's enough. Because that's tragic. But that's the tragic story of Moon. Now on to another tragic story. I'm very giggly. I just got back from hanging out with one of my friends. We watched the movie Blink Twice. I was blinking plenty of times after the movie in, confusion. I was confused the whole time. It's definitely a risky movie to make without spoiling anything. It was an odd movie, but I would like to be in a movie kind of like a thriller type of thing where, you don't know what's going to happen or, anything like that. But nothing wild, too wild. But thrillers usually are crazy. Anyways, yeah, just got back from hanging out with my friend, and it was fun, yeah. Should I talk about friends real quick? So, I currently have I can count how many friends I have on one hand. It sounds worse than it is. It sounds really sad, but it is true. It's just, when you get older, people grow apart and you lose your friends. That's what I've learned throughout the years, throughout my long life. And yeah, but my mom always says the ones that are supposed to stay will stay. And, some people are only meant to be in your life for seasons. And that's kind of what had happened nothing like, no bad blood, no crazy things occurred. It just happened that we all grew apart and we're going different ways because that's just kind of how it goes. I had a big friend group when I was in high school and middle school, and over the years when 2020 hit, we just kind of went our separate ways, and my friend group is no more. I don't talk to any of them except for one, and she is my bestie. I'd say my best friend. I never had best friends. I never really had friends when I was younger either. When I think back, I never had friends like that. More so just acquaintances, but no one who I hung out with or no one who I could call a friend. No. And if anyone's seeing this and you're like, Ari, I thought I was your friend. I wasn't aware. I wasn't aware that we were friends. So if you are my friend saying this, send me a message. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be putting this on YouTube. But this is a yap session. And not to degrade myself every single video, but most people aren't watching me for this long anyways. So I know I often degrade myself and just sort of like, okay, this is turned into a therapy session. Not like degrade myself. I just don't see my accomplishments as a big of a deal. I should see them as I'm like, oh no, it wasn't really nothing. Nah, not really. Like that's me. And I could win an Oscar. Oh no. I can win a huge award. I'm like, no, this, do you get what I'm saying? Anyways, but it is good to have these friends that I have currently in my life still, and hopefully I can make some more because we all need some friends. People to hang out with other than your family or whoever else. Well, So here's the second tragic story. I guess I just have an intermission. That was my intermission because two tragic stories, y'all might have been like, I try to make it a little lighter than it actually. Well, it was. That's basically the whole story, but I'm trying to make it light, not a hard, heavy hitter. Here's the other tragic story. So this isn't tragic, but I did burn myself when I was doing my hair, and this kind of goes along with what I'm about to talk about. So this happened in I think 2020, yeah, or 2019, one of those years, and it was 4th of July, and this is a firework incident. My hair kind of moved when I did that. This was a firework incident that happened to me. So it was 4th of July 2019, I believe, and I was just kind of inside the house I was playing Roblox, if anyone. I was a big Roblox fan. I haven't played that game in years now. They changed it. I was playing Roblox inside the house, and it was nighttime, and my neighbors were popping fireworks. And so I was on the game, minding my business, having fun. My dad, he comes in the room, and he's like, hey, y'all want to go watch the fireworks outside? They're popping fireworks. And I was sat at my laptop, or at the computer, and I was playing Roblox, and I was like, I'm playing Roblox, though, and I can hear the fireworks and see them through the windows. I don't really want to go out there. And my dad, he was asking everybody, he was like, hey, y'all want to go see the fireworks? You want to sit outside with me? And so I was like, after a while, I was like, do I want to go? I don't really want to go, Fireworks are loud. I loved fireworks when I was younger, by the way. I'll talk about that later, but now I don't really like fireworks too much. But at this time, I didn't really care for fireworks anymore. So my dad, he was like, hey, I want to go outside. And I said, no, not really. And I said, well, I feel bad because he wants us to go out there and this, that, and the fifth. And he just was like, no one wanted to go with him. So he was like, so I finally was like, okay, fine. But I had a feeling. I was like, don't go out there. But I ignored that feeling. They call it if you will, an unction. And trust your gut is essentially what it is. You get an unction, you get a bad feeling. It tells you don't go somewhere, don't go there. Don't do it. And I've learned that. So I got an unction, and I was like, don't go out there. I got a really bad feeling that I shouldn't have went out there. But I went out there anyways. My brother also ended up going outside too. So we had a porch. We were sat on our porch. And should I draw it? I drew last time. I think it'll make more sense if I draw it. So I finished my drawing. Let's see if it'll show. This is the house. I was sitting here. My dad. Here, hopefully. This is the house. This is the house. And this is the porch steps. I was actually underneath the porch, so we have a overhead that goes over it. And I was underneath the porch, on the porch. And this is the steps, and my dad was sitting below the steps. And this is my brother in our front lawn on his bicycle. And these are our neighbors, and that's the houses, and this is the street. But these are our neighbors, and that's the little fireworks, because they were popping fireworks in a bucket, throwing them in there, and letting them disperse into the air. So I sat out there. I was like, okay, I'm as far away as possible. I can't get hit if anything happens. So I thought. And on this side, we actually had the house over here too. Part of the house was kind of like a shield, acting like a shield. So I thought. So I was like, okay, there's no way I'm going to get hit. No way. My brother, he was actually super close to the fireworks. My neighbors, like I said, they were dumping fireworks in a bucket and letting them go off. And so they dump these specific fireworks in a bucket. Somehow the bucket ends up tilting over and dispersing fireworks into our direction. It was one of those, the ones that shoot pow, 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 pow. And dodges my brother, dodges my dad, hits me. They hit me. That's enough for this picture. I was sat like I was right now, watching the fireworks. All of a sudden, I see the firework bucket tilt over, and the fireworks fly towards my way. And my brother dipped out the way. He was just standing there, dipped out the way. My dad, he was just kind of sitting, because he didn't see it, I don't think. And it flew at me. I just remembered, like a firework flying directly towards my face and dipping down. It was just like a big spark, straight towards my face. Imagine something flying at you, like a flame flying at you. That's what happened, and it ended up flying at me, dipping downward, hitting me in my stomach and my lap area. And it didn't burn. All it felt like was somebody threw a weight, like a hand weight, like a 5-pounder. Like somebody threw a 5-pound weight in my lap and on my stomach, like boom. That's what it felt like. Just some kind of heavy object dropped on me. I didn't feel any pain, but minus the flames flying at my face and, the weight feeling in my lap. And so I ran inside, and my brother and my dad also ran inside. And I immediately ran inside and started crying. And everyone's like, why are you crying? What's going on? And I run, and my mom, she's downstairs or upstairs or something. She runs down the steps. She's like, why are you crying? What's going on? And I was like, when I cry, you can barely understand anything I'm saying. My mom runs down the steps, and I'm there, and she's like, what's going on? What's going on? I said, the fireworks. It flew at my face. They flew towards me. I didn't even know I was hit like that. Well, I felt it, but I didn't feel it, like burning or anything. And my mom, she's like, where have you been hit at? And I was like, right here. And we looked down, and I have burns all on my skin, because I was wearing shorts. Some shorts, and my shorts were tore up. They burned up. I still have the shorts too. They're just kind of like, should I get them? And I won't get them. We don't need to show and tell every time. But imagine some shorts, and these were from Uniqlo. They were blue shorts, and those are really nice shorts. Also more tragicness. And they have some indents in them, like someone took a match and just kind of dabbed it. And there's indents from the burns on them. And I look down, and my clothes are pretty much destroyed. I had a red shirt on. The shirt had like ashes on them, and my pants had holes in them, and they were burnt up. And my skin I had on my arms and on my, legs were burnt from the fireworks. And I was bleeding too, blistered, third-degree burns. And my mom, she's like, "We gotta take you to the hospital." It was close to 11 o'clock at this time. And so we ended up going to the hospital. And I walked in there, and they had us. Oh, I remember I was trying to change. My mom said, "No, we gotta go now." And I was like, "No, I don't want to wear these clothes to the These clothes smell like smoke. They got ash on them. There's holes in them. They've been burnt." And Mom said, "No, we gotta go to the hospital now." So she drives me to the hospital, and I was there. And so we walked in, and it's 4th of July. A lot of people are in there because firework incidents. And so I walk in. They had a little desk. I walk up to the desk. She's like, "Okay, what you got going on?" I said, "I've been hit by fireworks." And she said, "Let me see." And so she saw my burns, and she was like, "Okay, just sit down over there." I ended up sitting down for like 40 minutes, maybe 30, 40. I just sat like this while I had my burns being left untreated. They usually, hospitals, they more severe patients first and then less severe last. So I wasn't as severe, so I didn't get treated quickly. Obviously, I'm still here, so it must have not been that bad. But at the time, it was very scary. And, I was sat there, and all of a sudden, this family comes in with this little boy. He looks like he'd been through a war zone. He also had a firework incident. The boy looked so horrible. They got him back there right away. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm not as severely injured, thankfully, as he is or as anyone else is, because they have me sitting here for an hour. But he walked in, and I looked at him. I was horrified. I was like, that could have happened to me. The dude, he walked in. He had like yellow welts all over his body. His skin was red and peeling like a war zone. It's very disgusting. No disrespect to him. Hopefully they helped him, recover back to his normal appearance before the incident. But I was like, I was so horrified when I saw him walk in. His parents were walking in with him. He was a little, 10. He looked 10, 9, 8. He walks in, and the doctors ran up to him, and they, all carried him back. He was probably in that surgery room. And I was looking at me, and I was like, that's why I'm sitting here. And luckily, I wasn't in pain. I was just kind of like, all right. I finally get called back, and what they do, I was just like, I could have done this at home. No disrespect to the medical field, but I was like, I could have done this at home, because all they did was put a little water on it, and then put some kind of cream on it and bandaged me up, and then gave me a kit to take home from my burns, and then charged over $70 for it. I was like, I could have done this at home. I was like, really? And I was waiting there for an hour. Took us 30 minutes to get there, all for them to do that within 5 minutes, and then I'm on my way. So, yeah, that's the firework incident. And I went back home, and there was fireworks going off. That incident has turned me away from fireworks, because when I was younger, I really loved popping fireworks. I liked going out there and popping fireworks and all that. We used to go to my uncle's house. He lived in the country, if you will. He lived out there. He has a little ranch, and we would go out there and pop fireworks. I loved it. We actually recently went back to his house for 4th of July. I was inside the house. I wasn't anywhere near fireworks. I was like, nope, I don't like fireworks anymore. And when I hear fireworks, I'm like, sometimes they are scary before and after. They were scary before and after, but now I hear them like, pop. I'm like, oh goodness. Well, that's kind of how it is now. What it is, I don't like fireworks. I wouldn't say PTSD, but I know better. Like, fireworks are dangerous. I didn't realize they're basically explosives. They are explosives, and they charge you a lot of money. And fireworks burn down people's houses. They kill people. Like, can I say, they cause harm to people. KILL people. I mean, just all these different things. It's very dangerous. and yet people popping them like nobody's business. Where I live, we got people popping fireworks randomly, no matter the time, no matter the season, and especially during the summer, whenever the kids are out of school, they like to go pop fireworks in the middle of the night. When will these kids ever stop? This next one is a little bit of an embarrassing story. An embarrassing story. I have quite a few embarrassing stories that I may or may not tell. Time will tell if I will tell. Time will tell if I will tell. Time will tell if I will tell. I was in 10th grade and I had to do an assignment. I was in Spanish class and we had to do. We're in the new age of learning where you're doing things online as well as going in person. And so I had to do an assignment at home and we had to turn it into this uh program. Program. A program. And so the assignment was we had to just speak in Spanish on the camera like this and say something. I forgot what we were saying. And so I never was really good at Spanish, so I would just go on Spanish dictionary and get the answers from that and then say what I had to say in Spanish from what I could piece together and what I found on Spanish dictionary. Don't cheat, guys. If any consolation, I wish I would have tried harder in Spanish class so I could be bilingual, somewhat bilingual. Because there was kids, they started the same time I started. We were all in Spanish classes for 3 years, and they are basically bilingual. And me, I was like, yo soy, you know, como se dice? But yeah, and so we had to do an assignment in Spanish, and I had to say the thing in Spanish on the camera like I am on the camera right now. And before I did the assignment, I was singing Shackles by Mary Mary. Shackles on my feet so I can dance. I just wanna praise him. I just wanna praise him. Yeah. That's exactly how I was singing. This light's kind of going crazy. And I'll just leave it. And I was singing that song, and then I immediately went, I was like, shackles off my feet so I can dance. Yo soy Arya. Yo soy de. Yo. That's kind of how it was. I was like, yo quiero hamburguesa y papas fritas con ketchup y bebe agua. That was me. I always was super monotone when I did my assignments. That was the most lively I've ever been when I was singing Shackles. Shackles on my feet so I can dance. I was singing that, and so I ended up turning in the video where I was singing to my teacher, and I didn't find out until I went back and checked to make sure everything uploaded properly onto the program. And I saw that I was singing. I was like, I was mortified. I said no, and so I had to send the teacher a message. I was like, please disregard that first submission, and I was like, please disregard that first submission and look at the second submission. The teacher, maybe he saw it, maybe he didn't. He didn't really respond to it, so I'm guessing he didn't see it. And my second submission that I had to redo that didn't have any singing in it, that's the one that I got graded on. But I thought that was super embarrassing and kind of funny. My family, we laugh at that because I was like, singing in my assignment, I was just so embarrassed. I put it on, I have it still on video and the little clip, I might insert it. Yeah, shackles on my feet so I can dance. Just want crazy. Cuando era niña jugaba con muñecas. Fui a la guardera con mi hermano. Jugabas a juegos con mis amigas. Please disregard the first submission and watch my second submission. I accidentally sent in the first one. Thank you. I don't know why I want to share this one, but I had it in my notes, so. When I was younger, it's just kind of a funny story. Maybe not, I don't know. I don't know what you laugh at and what you find funny. But, when I was younger, I went to the doctor, and the doctor noticed that I had some kind of I do have some here, white specks on my nails, and the doctor was like, it looks like you're calcium deficient. So apparently if you have white spots on your fingernails, it's a sign of calcium deficiency. And so the doctor was like, looks like you need more calcium intake. And, he told me that. I was like mortified. I said, no. Any news like that just makes me go crazy. I'm like, no. A doctor could be like, something's wrong with you. You have calcium deficiency. And I think it's the end of the world. Like, no. But, calcium deficiency, I was like, younger, I said, okay, calcium equals milk. So when I went home, I was like, I need to drink more milk then so I can not have a calcium deficiency. And so I ended up drinking milk every day when I got home. I'm talking like this much milk. I get a big cup and just drink that much milk because I was like, okay, the doctor is saying I need to drink more calcium. Let me drink more calcium. I ended up drinking up that much every single day when I got home from school. I was doing this so much that, well, my parents, they were like, why do we keep running through milk so fast? What's going on? And I didn't say anything, but my parents were like, we just bought this milk. Why is it already gone? It'd be like, they just buy a whole gallon of milk, and I drank 90% of that. Because I was like, I can't have these white specks on my nails. I can't have calcium deficiency. No. And yeah, I was the one drinking up all the milk. So my mom watches these videos, so it was me. I don't do that anymore. Probably don't have as much calcium intake as I should now. But I know not to drink that much milk. And milk isn't even that good for you anyways. Apparently. I don't even know if it worked. I just remember drinking a lot of milk. Like, I'd come home, pop open the refrigerator, get the jug out, and pour it and drink. Since we're talking about health things, well, this isn't a health thing, but I'll talk about the time I had swimmer's ear. So, swimmer's ear they call it swimmer's ear because usually people who swim a lot get these things. It's where your ears get clogged up and there's water consistently running out of your ear, fluid coming out of your ear. I know, this is a very nasty yap session and very tragic, and I want this to be fun, but it might be fun. Some of you guys might be laughing. Don't laugh at my pain. Anyway, so this is the time I got swimmer's ear. I was in 10th grade. A lot of stuff happened in 10th grade, huh? Wait, was it 10th? It was 10th grade. I woke up, started my first period, which was math. Bro. So I started my first period and it was math, and I was sat down and I couldn't hear anything. I was like, whoa, am I going deaf? I could not hear anything. And the first few minutes class, we did the whole, thing that we had to do. And then I was like, I cannot hear anybody. I can't hear the teacher. I can't hear someone next to me. So I raised my hand, and I just heard my teacher say, and I was like, I just raised my hand, and I said, can I go to the nurse? He said, that's how it sounded. And so I just got up and left. He said, I think he shook his head like, I mean, some teachers might be reluctant because it's like, okay, you just got here and you already got to go to the nurse. But I walked in, the nurse, like, I walked to the nurse's office. The nurse wasn't even there. That's how early it was in the school day. So I had to wait for the nurse outside the room. And then she's like, oh, you're already here? There's already someone in here? I just got here. And so she ends up helping me, and I was like, I can't hear out of my ears. And I could barely hear her. And she put out this machine, and she had to take an ear test, I guess, to see if I needed to stay at school or go home right away. And so she made me do this test, and it was a test where you have like a noise in each ear, and you have to raise your hand in which ear it is. So I was sat there for a few minutes doing that test, and she was like, okay, you need to go to the doctor. You have swimmer's ear, most likely, because nurses, I found out nurses, they have a lot more medical training than you think, but they aren't allowed to give you anything, or they're not even allowed to like tell you what you got going on. I don't, she knew I had swimmer's ear, but she couldn't outright say I had swimmer's ear. So she said, it's possible that you have swimmer's ear, but you have to go to a doctor to get the treatment and stuff like that. Because nurses at schools, you can't really do anything. That's why most people are like, why do we go to nurses and they just tell us to lay down or give us an ice pack? You could be bleeding out, and the nurse like, lay down, ice pack. Well, it's because they can't do anything legally for whatever reason. But I was like, oh, nurses actually know a lot more than we think they do. Obviously, they're medically trained and stuff, but I'm like, they don't really help you too much because they can't. Anyway, she took that machine out, which I didn't even know nurses had this machine. And we did the test, and she was like, okay, you gotta go to a doctor. And so on my way back, I think I called my mom, and I ended up staying at school the entire day, which was crazy because I could barely hear, like, the entire time. It was like that the entire day. And I remember I was in Spanish class, and I wrote on the board, this was the last class of the day, I just wrote on, we did like a class fun project assignment thing, and we had to write our answers on the board, and I just wrote on the board saying, I can't hear. The whole day it was just muffled sounds, but I could hear sometimes, so that was good. But after school, I immediately went to the doctor. The doctor said I had swimmer's ear, and I needed some eardrops. And, he was asking questions like, do you swim? I said, no. So I don't know how I got swimmer's ear, but I just did get swimmer's ear. I was like, no, I don't swim. No, I don't do any of that. I don't swim. I don't do any of that. I don't know how I got this, but I got it. And so I had to take these eardrops, and I had to get eardrops put in my ears for maybe a week, 2 weeks. And it slowly started getting better, but there was fluid constantly draining in out of my ear. Not to get graphic, but that's what swimmer's ear is. Alright, bye.